There's your average person below Madonna's nipple cone. And in Philly, you don't have a lot of class from the players or the fans. Example, I've got it right now. So they have a goalie, this black dude named Ray Emery. All right. Long story short, he went down and beat up our goalie one game. Our goalie doesn't fight. He's like a Buddhist monk. He just, I can take it home. He's just not a fighter. He's a zone guy. And so you're not allowed to skate past center ice when there's like a... Now, we were beating them 7-0. A touchdown and a fucking extra point in hockey is ridiculous. I don't blame them for fighting. We were embarrassing the living dog shit out of them in their own backyard. But he skates down and beats up our non-fighting goalie. Now, our goalie's not a pussy. He could have levitated 12 feet off the ice if he wanted to. He's a Zen Buddha. However, this guy came down and beat him up. And, you know, we beat everybody else up in those fights. Our guys are pretty tough this year. Sometimes we have pussy teams, but this year's team's pretty tough. We got a guy that's won more fights than anybody else in the NHL. And he did this. And that was not unusual for the Philadelphia Flyers. They got their name Broad Street Bullies for a reason back in the 70s. They fight everybody because I think it's a response to we can't beat anybody. So we're going to have to do something to entertain the crowd. And that kind of stuck with them. So if you like teams that don't give a shit about scoring, don't give a shit about the structure of the game, and just like to fight, guy was asking me, who should I pick? Pick Philadelphia. But they are our arch enemy. We hate them. The only team we might hate as much as them is the Pittsburgh Penguins. Yet more flightless waterfowl who waddle, who are overweight, and whose fucking beta males guard eggs. What kind of species has the man guarding the egg? Pittsburgh Penguins. That's the species. That's the one. And they have a girl on their team named Cindy Kreisboy. And he got his name because the NHLPA, the NHL Players Association, voted him the whiniest player in the league. Now, if you want to get a bitch boy subtitle, what you want to do in the NHL is go whine. This is the toughest sport there is. You want to go out there and whine. Go out there and whine and cry to the refs that calls were missed. Get voted by the players in your own league as the whiniest bitch in the NHL. You get the name Sidney Kreisboy. So, but he's consistently scoring at the top in points and goals and stuff at the end of the year. So he's always in sort of a contrast with Alex Ovechkin. You know, the Alex Ovechkin guy's rough tumble. He doesn't get into fights and stuff, but he hits like a fucking ton of bricks. He's like 220, 6'2", something like that. And Kreisboy doesn't hit anybody. But he's got a spinorama. I mean, he really does do well on figure skates. He's da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da. And then he asked for his partner to lift him underneath the scrotum. Well, he doesn't really have a scrotum. I got a confession to make. Sidney Crosby's my sister. All right, we lied so she could get into the NHL. She does have, unfortunately, a vagina. And it is a very flappulent vagina. And sometimes she can clap like to old Irish folk songs, pop, 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 and you don't know what's going on because you're like, a guy with a dick couldn't do that. Yeah, that's my vagina. That's the cable muscles. I'm working them just so. That's Sidney Crosby. Here I am rambling because this is what happens when I haven't been on the radio for 12 days and I don't want to fucking be on tonight. Now, rule number one for you new people in radio, don't come on a goddamn show and say you don't want to be there. Because if you don't want to be there, nobody else is going to want to be there. I got to pass because I've done a couple 300 episodes already, so I can fuck around a little bit. You learn your shit first, then you can fuck around. Flaplin is not a word. It's not a word. I make shit up. But at least I do know that I've made shit up. It makes it more interesting, I think, so I'm glad that you make up words. Now, this dumb shit of people, traffic is moving at speed. This soldier was in country. Back the fuck up. What do you mean at speed? At what speed? At posted speed? In country? In what fucking country? They've suddenly removed the descriptive adjectives or nouns that tell you what a thing is. They just removed it. It's gone. Fucking assholes. And I'm hearing these reporters lately saying, right? They'll be talking. So, this is the problem. They say so. They start a conversation with so. You say, so tell me how you're... Well, you wouldn't want to start with that if you were being me, but you might say, tell me how you're doing on your senatorial campaign, whatever. And they say, so, stop right there. There's no so. You can say so if you're describing to a friend what you did at summer camp once. So, I'm sitting around the fire, right? Okay, that makes sense. But you can't answer a normal professional interview question with so. So is a continuation of something. And then to say right every 5 seconds, right, that's a trick. I don't know if the people that use it know that, but it's a Socratic method of selling. It gets people nodding. If you get them saying yes, 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 they're more likely to say yes when you hit them with something that should be a maybe or a no. Very old trick. Lawyers use it all the time in court cases. So when I hear people doing that, here's what I do. I'm sorry, I'm a bit of a party pooper on a couple of these things. It's not many. There's a lot of shit that people do and say that's modern that I like. But, for example, when somebody says right to me, I'm driving in my car, which is, of course, pretty fast, right? And as soon as they say right, I say no. And do it. And if it bothers you, anytime they say right, peppering it through their sentences, just say no. Because it'll draw distinct and direct attention to the fact that they've just asked you a question about what they're saying when they had no interest in your answer for it. Or, if they're deeply intelligent, they'll know that you didn't buy their Socratic method of getting them to nod. You know what you're doing when you're nodding? I'm the only guy that's come up with this, and you guys know I'm right. If you're nodding all the time, what does it look like from the back? You're giving head. You're bobbing, you're blowing. Just make sure this person you're constantly nodding in front of, like if you're in an interview with a compatriot of some type, and he's talking and you're nod, you're giving head to him. Whoever's speaking, when you're nodding, you're giving them the blowjob. So make sure they've earned the blowjob before you start polishing their nod with a nod, and that's an OD, as in Nancy Ogre Dog Dick. Speaking of Nancy Ogre Dog Dick, Hillary, guy was saying she won't win. I'm afraid she might, but in my heart, I hope she doesn't, just from name recognition. But Jeb Bush has good name recognition, too. If I did vote on the right this year, I would, knowing if we had to vote today with what we know, I would probably vote for Marco Rubio. Only because I just think he's more of a complete package without some of the luggage that's connected to Jeb. But Jeb does have the name recognition. He seems a lot smarter than his brother. I'll tell you that shit right now. I'm giving him credit for that right now. A lot more in tune with people than his brother was. But neither one of them are as smart as their father was. But I don't know. Maybe the fruit doesn't fall far from the tree, unless you're W, in which case you drank so much alcohol that several parts of your prefrontal cortex and maybe your occipital lobe and your temporal lobe started to degrade, and a lot of pot actually does cause the brain to shrink slightly. Your cognitive function will begin to lose its abilities. You'll begin to have short-term and then medium and then long-term memory loss, and you'll essentially turn into Goofy Bomb. I mean, that's the product. If that's what you want to turn into, go ahead and do that, is what I'm saying. Anyway, yeah, well, maybe he's gay. I did, whatever. I just like the way he does policy and stuff. But I got a lot to learn about him. I'm not, riding a bandwagon. I'm just saying if I voted on the right today, it would probably be Marco Rubio. Anyway, so let's keep going with this. Now, there's a lot of shit that I left dangling there, and you may think that's intentional. Look at Kevin. He's trying to build suspense in the show. See, we heard what he was going to talk about in the first part, but he's saving it for the rest of the show. No, I'm not. I've already fucking forgot it, people. It's 50 first dates with me every show. I don't know what we've done. I don't know what we're going to do. And I don't know what I've done in the show. Did I just say I don't know what we've done twice? There you go. There you go. My short-term memory does go back 7 to 11 seconds. And as Andrew said earlier, he did 7-11, and he may have done 9-11. On that note, what I would like you to hear, since we're talking about Andrew in Australia, is a bit of a poetry slam that was recorded in Australia. Now, these are just the highlights. I just brought you the best parts. But I want you guys to listen to this and tell me, do you feel it? Do you feel what these people are doing? I don't know if I've ever seen a better form of expression. You're not stuck to singing. You can talk. You're not stuck to rapping. You can sing. You can mix all of this up to get your message out, and you can even bring in musical instruments for impact without it being a band. Very interesting shit. I want to know what you guys think about it, if you think it's too artsy-fartsy, or if it makes you want to fuck somebody with one leg. Because if that happens, then we've entered a new area here of human influence by other humans speaking. And I need to know about that. That shit I need to know about. This is called Please Resist Me Poetry Slam Tour 2012 highlights with Joel Macaro, Alla Gabers, and then it goes Luke ... So I can't tell you what's after the ellipses, but this is what we're going to do. We're going to do it right now, so get ready for that.
Whisper around corners, a shadow story of myth long forgotten, of a war that once stained this dark earth red, and yet would never make it into my school books. For it is far easier to ignore the terror in these lands, the terror born of these hands, when slaughtered to near extinction, Victoria's population reduced from 60,000 to 2,000 in 30 years. This is our killing fields. This is our genocide. This is our history, and I am ashamed.
The definition of race is never as black or white as it may appear on an A4 page. Let love and not hate straighten your spine. Speak words that are just, but never let hate taint your tongue. For we are the children of men and women that have survived, endured, and grown kings and queens without crowns or thrones. Daughter of a diaspora, though your feet may never kiss solid ground, nor your wearied limbs rest or belong to any homeland, take heart in the fact that the evolution of man begins with you. Take heart in the fact that the evolution of man begins with you. So create and start anew.
Do you know how war goes? Feeding on the lost souls. Do you speak in Morse code, or do you speak for men? They say that it's hocus pocus, but I know that they're overdosing on posters opposed to hope, as opposed to denote the Pope as a post-colonial local. They're loaded with quotes of the Bible, King Solomon's own survival. I jutted in pen, my saliva's more salty than all of the eyes of the children of mothers who've died in attacks from Afghanistan troops with the battle can boots and a pack of canned soup in the back of their troop carrier, packed to the roof with a batter seat to their jacket, their crew, new king. But it's their coup. You govern.
Sun of glory dusk and moon luster. Scribbled etchings up and down her waist, her thigh, belly pregnant with the transformation of her sunset sinful lies, this inner naked before his hungry eyes. But what of thee could he covet, could he desire? A soldier of lust, an appetite for her secret sacred musk hand.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Now back that shit up, you crack whore. If you've got a secret, sacred musk, tap, 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 then that makes you a danger. Because if I can't bring my boys around you without them panting and drooling and trying to fucking hump your leg, then we're going to have a problem because we got shit to do. So, but seriously, if you guys start to get bothered by this, because it runs for about 7 minutes, I will stop it. But I just want you to get a taste of it. And you know you like it when I give you something to taste. Make sure to nod a lot as you're listening to this. And let's keep it going. You know, I like the talent here. I like the art. If it's annoying to you, if it's getting too stupid, let me know in the chat room and I'll break in and stop it. But goddamn it, okay?
Palm thick fed upon whispers of skin. A mere lifetime of offerings at the temple of him. Fingernails scream up and down blackboard spines. He never bound by space or time, branding this love.
My lids covered your eyes, and your teeth clenched in my mouth, where my sights were all you saw, so my fears became your doubts. Where your left hand joined my right when we came to pray to keep this love alive. Where your hands definitely cut my wrist, but I still called it suicide. confluence, where when it was over, only half my face was left, and half this skeleton lay broken. Half my heartbeat, half my pulse, and half this chest, and less than half my words were spoken. Half a bird